It's 4:37 in the morning, and your breath creates small clouds in the February air outside Foot Locker. Your back aches from sitting on cold concrete for 6 hours. Your phone battery died somewhere around midnight, and you can't feel your toes despite wearing 2 pairs of socks. The security guard makes his hourly walk past the line of 23 people, all of you clutching numbered wristbands and folding chairs like artifacts from a camping trip nobody wanted to take. Your stomach churns with caffeine and anxiety as you check your watch again. Store opens at 10 a.m. You'll be here for another 5.5 hours for the chance to buy a pair of Travis Scott Jordan 1 lows that retail for $150, but are already selling for $800 on StockX. To anyone walking by, you look like someone who's lost control of their priorities. But sitting in this line feels like the most important thing you could be doing with your Saturday. The world sees this as adults acting like children for shoes. You feel it as pure anticipation distilled into physical endurance. The same rush athletes get from training, the same focus students get from studying for finals that determine their future. This isn't about shoes anymore. It's about proving you want something badly enough to sacrifice comfort, sleep, and dignity to get it. Dr. Robert Cialdini's research on commitment and consistency reveals why waiting in line creates such powerful psychological investment. His studies show that people who invest time, effort, or discomfort to obtain something value it far more than identical items acquired easily. Every hour you spend in this line increases your emotional attachment to shoes you don't even own yet. You remember your first sneaker line. 3 years ago, Jordan 4 Black Cat Retro. You arrived 30 minutes before opening, confident that early bird gets the worm. Instead, you found 40 people already waiting, some who'd been there since midnight. You left empty-handed and spent the next week watching resale prices climb beyond your budget. That failure taught you the unforgiving mathematics of sneaker releases. Arrive early enough, or don't arrive at all. But Dr. Leon Festinger's research on cognitive dissonance explains why the line experience becomes addictive rather than deterrent. When people endure significant hardship to achieve a goal, their minds automatically increase the perceived value of that goal to justify the suffering. The cold, the waiting, the uncertainty, they don't diminish your desire for the shoes. They amplify it. The line creates its own micro-community. You know the guy in front of you is a reseller because he's checking prices on his phone every 15 minutes. The college students behind you are splitting pairs to save money. The middle-aged man at position 7 has been collecting Jordan 4s since the original 1989 release. By sunrise, you've shared stories, compared collections, and formed temporary bonds over shared obsession. Dr. Henri Tajfel's social identity theory shows that people derive significant psychological satisfaction from belonging to groups, even temporary ones. The sneaker line becomes an exclusive club where membership requires genuine dedication. You're not just waiting. You're proving you belong among people who understand why these shoes matter enough to sacrifice a Friday night's sleep. But there's a darker psychology operating beneath the surface camaraderie. The line creates artificial scarcity that transforms a commercial transaction into a competition. Only 12 pairs available in your size. 23 people want them. Simple math dictates that 11 people will leave disappointed, which makes every person around you simultaneously a community member and a threat to your success. Dr. Timothy Brock's research on psychological reactance reveals that people want things more intensely when they perceive them as limited or threatened. The store could produce enough pairs for everyone in line, but they deliberately don't. That artificial scarcity doesn't just increase demand, it fundamentally changes the psychological experience of acquisition from shopping to victory. The most revealing moment comes around hour 4, when your rational mind starts questioning the entire enterprise. You're spending a full day to save $500 on resale. Your hourly wage for this effort calculates to roughly $25, assuming you actually get the shoes. A reasonable person would go home, work an extra shift, and buy the shoes online for market price. But Dr. Dan Ariely's research on irrational behavior shows that people often value the process of acquisition as much as the acquisition itself. You're not just buying shoes, you're earning them through demonstrated commitment. The line transforms a simple purchase into an achievement that carries psychological weight beyond the object's inherent value. The strangest part is how normal this feels while you're doing it. Sitting on concrete at 5 a.m., surrounded by strangers unified by footwear obsession, seems completely logical when everyone around you is doing the same thing. Dr. Solomon Asch's conformity experiments demonstrate how group behavior normalizes actions that would seem absurd in isolation. 8 a.m. arrives with the first warm sunlight and renewed energy throughout the line. Store employees begin arriving for work, and the reality of imminent success or failure sharpens everyone's focus. Conversations become quieter, more tactical. People start counting heads obsessively, recalculating their odds based on who's ahead of them and how many pairs the store received. The psychology shifts dramatically in these final hours. Dr. Kahneman and Tversky's prospect theory explains that people feel losses more intensely than equivalent gains. After investing 8 hours in this line, leaving empty-handed doesn't just mean missing out on shoes. It means all that time, discomfort, and hope was wasted. The potential loss becomes more painful than the potential gain is pleasurable. Store opening feels like a religious ceremony. The manager appears with a clipboard announcing how many pairs they have in each size. Your size, 11 pairs. You're number 9 in line. The relief is almost overwhelming. You made it into the safe zone. But watching person number 13 realize they've wasted their entire night creates a mixture of sympathy and survivor's guilt that lingers long after you leave with your purchase. The moment you hold the box, the psychological transformation is immediate and complete. The shoes that seemed impossibly valuable during the 8-hour wait suddenly feel like just shoes again. The magic was never in the object. It was in the quest. Dr. Michael Norton's research on the IKEA effect shows that people value things they had to work for. But his studies also reveal that the effort often matters more than the outcome. Here's the counterintuitive truth that most people miss about sneaker lines. The people who wait the longest often enjoy the shoes the least. The anticipation, the community, the achievement of acquisition, all of that happens during the wait. Once you own the shoes, they become just another pair in your collection, valuable but no longer magical, which reveals something profound about human motivation. We're often more energized by pursuing what we want than by having what we want. The line provides structure, purpose, and clear objectives in a world where most goals are ambiguous and most achievements feel temporary. In the end, that 8-hour wait on cold concrete wasn't really about shoes at all. It was about the fundamental human need to want something specific badly enough that you're willing to sacrifice comfort for possibility, to endure uncertainty for the chance at something rare, to prove to yourself and others that your desires matter enough to defend with your time and dedication. The sneaker becomes a symbol of every dream worth waiting for, every goal worth suffering for, every part of yourself that refuses to accept that wanting something isn't enough reason to make it happen.